Hello everybody, and welcome to my review of the New World Preview. My name is Sir Robro, and I really hope you enjoy. Let's start where the game starts you. Character creation. It's non-restrictive, but kind of boring. You can be a female with a beard, which is fantastic, but there's not much creativity to it. There's a couple colors, and there's a couple hairstyles, and a couple faces, but there's not as much as I thought there'd be in this big of an MMO. Speaking of characters, you can't swim. Doesn't matter if you're naked, heavy armor, light armor, you can't swim. Don't know why. I would like to swim. Something else that you can't do, you can't trade. In order to give someone your precious bow, you need to drop it onto the ground and hope that no one else takes it. You gotta go around in a secluded corner, maybe the third floor of the inn. Hey, meet me over by the bear cave. You can't trade, it's kind of annoying. You can give gold to other people just by clicking a couple buttons, but you can't actually trade. Crafting is by far the most thought out part of the game. It has a real sandbox feel, and you can do pretty much whatever you want. You can focus on creating weapons, you can focus on creating armor, you can focus on creating the tools used to gather the resources to make everything else. A great part is that you can be fed items from your company or your friend to level yourself up faster. That way you're creating endgame equipment and supplies faster than everybody else. You can be the one to spread the love. Here's your food, here's your armor, here's your weapons, let's go kill things. Speaking of killing things, combat. Respecking is free for a certain period of time, and you can always find out who you are in the game. Maybe you want to be a sword and board kind of guy. Maybe you want to use primarily the life or fire staff. Maybe you want to use the bow. These are all great decisions, and you can really find out who you are throughout the gameplay. The skill trees that are attached to the weapons are a nice touch. I kind of wish there was a little bit more. It seems that level 20 mastery is a little low. I hope they expand it in the future with maybe a third skill tree or longer skill trees. Something that upsets me with skills is that the cooldowns are tied to a key press and not the weapon itself. I don't know what the point is of having 9 available skills when I can actually only use 3 at a time. This really comes to fruition when you factor in weapon swapping. Sometimes it's a bit clunky, so if you don't time it right, you didn't swap the skills. There were multiple occasions where I wanted to dash with my life staff, but I didn't swap fast enough, or I swapped too fast, and now I'm using the Q, which is berserk, for my hatchet, and I have to wait 50 seconds just to life dash, and it's kind of annoying. Bows and muskets are cool, but they're totally useless in group PvE content because other players will block your shot. If you're using a life staff or a fire staff, regular or heavy attack, same thing applies. If you hit a player, your attack is void. You have to be using AoE abilities if you're using those weapons in order to do successful hits. In my eyes, factions are pretty much pointless. The only reason to do faction quests are to gain territory influence. You do this by grinding PvP quests that actually aren't PvP. You don't do any player killing, you just need to be flagged. If you're doing faction quests for tokens, that's great. However, once you start farming corruption breaches, tokens are aplenty and you never need to touch quests again. The only reason factions exist is to start wars. And unless you have a large enough company and a large enough faction base that is willing to do it, it's going to take hours upon hours upon hours to gain enough influence to actually start a war. Wars are a lot of fun. 50 vs 50 is fantastic, it's a great number, and communication is key. You really need to set up a Discord server or some kind of chat line to talk to everybody. Group 1 through this is doing that, group 2 through whatever is doing this. Hey, we need help on A, let's go to B, let's charge C, whatever. The only problem I see is that it really needs balance. At the war's current state, I can safely predict that after a certain amount of time has passed, wars are only going to be fought by maxed level 60 characters, which in essence is unfair to the people that are just starting out the game, because they want to also experience that end game content, territory wars, but didn't get to experience them like you did at level 20 and level 30 and level 40 as you were growing with the game. The wars need to be balanced. I don't know if this needs to be a minimum base level that you are given via a town upgrade. Maybe you're given a temporary respec, maybe you're given low gear score weapons and armor. That way, if you're level 20 joining a war, you start the war as a level 30 or a level 40 or a level 50, whatever it has to be. That way you can safely participate in these wars without feeling so left behind. It's not going to be fair 6 months, a year down the road when wars are only fought with level 60 versus level 60 teams. And I think it's going to exclude a lot of people from playing the game when they try to join their first war and they don't get picked, and they join their second war and they don't get picked. Quests and lore. Lore is found through documents scattered through all of Eternum, and I think this is a great concept because it really forces you to explore. You have to do the quests and you have to find the pages in order to really understand the world. I think this is great because in such a place, there's not like a library where you can go to find out all this information. You kind of have to be the one to discover, to dig up, to understand what happened here. As I said before, faction quests serve almost no point. The only point is that PvP quests give territory influence to start a war. PvP in and of itself is kind of pointless. It needs some kind of reward system. Yes, when you're flagged, you get a 10% experience bonus, but besides that buff, there's no reason to be flagged for PvP. It's fun to kill some people, it's terrifying to die. I admit my heart was pounding so fast the first couple times I got into it, but besides the adrenaline rush, there's nothing. There needs to be an Azoth reward, there needs to be a standing reward, there needs to be some kind of loot, maybe based on the combined levels of the participants. There needs to be something besides the thrill of the hunt, because it's going to discourage a lot of people from flagging, because 10% experience is worthless when you're level 60. Endgame. There is no endgame. There are level 45 breaches, there are level 65 breaches, but with a large enough group, those breaches are so minuscule. I started joining my company at level 25, conquering level 45 breaches, and at level 35, we were doing level 65 breaches. With a large group, yeah, you might die a few times, but it's easy. Set up a camp nearby, farm. Azoth and faction tokens are plentiful when you are farming corruption breaches. You no longer need to do faction quests for tokens because you can do breaches. Azoth is a main thing in crafting and fast travel. You can have a better chance to receive a perk on weapons or what have you, and you can easily travel from A to B with your supplies in order to find the tier 4 forge or the tier 5 workstation. The bosses are a joke in groups. They're just harder. They need some kind of variety, they need some kind of special attack or phasing. Maybe you can't hit the head at all or it'll start healing. There needs to be some kind of something to give bosses more than just experience and damage output. When you're traveling between A and B in the world of Eternum, it can get a little boring. The inn recall system, for me, is a little too long. I'd prefer 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes at the latest. However, once you start farming corruption breaches, Azoth is plentiful, which is pretty much free travel. Until that point, there needs to be things to do between A and B. It can be travelers or caravans that you might either want to protect or you want to rummage through, maybe rob. There needs to be pop-up markets that will sell some goods, some food, some of this, some of that. There needs to be enemies that just don't belong. How great would it be if a level 45 was in a level 25 area and either A, you gathered your friends and you killed it, or B, you found another route to the point you were going, exploring the world further. The world is the best part of the game. It is beautiful. The soundtrack really immerses you. The sound effects, the gunfire, the chopping of the wood, the mining of the boulder, it's all well done and it really puts you into the game. When you're walking from the beginning areas to the end game areas, you can really feel the danger growing. When you first leave Brightwood and go into the Great Cleave towards the Shattered Mountain, it all darkens. It's all death, despair, corruption. The red is seeping. The mobs are angry. It's all there. And when you start going from, let's say, Shattered Mountain to Eden Grove, it becomes still corrupted, but the colors of the trees and the shrubs and the foliage are absolutely stunning, and just it makes you want to turn the HUD off and just admire the beauty of it. It's still dangerous, which is what I love. You get angry earth mobs level 65 sniping you down with a shot, and you can't do anything because you're staring at how beautiful the game is. The only thing I would really want to see is a mini map. I don't know how many times I had to open and close the map just to remember where something was. And that about wraps it up. I want to thank everybody for watching my New World preview review. If you liked the video, hit that like button and consider subscribing for future content. I also stream on Switch, so check the link in the description, drop a cheeky follow, and let's talk about some games. Did you participate in the preview? Do you think this game will be successful? Does the sound of my voice put you to sleep? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, bye-bye. And a special thank you to Silicone and Jeska Snowfall for providing information that helped me create this video.